Hello and welcome to my channel. Well, I'd like to credit Gizmo for this, but he just basically reminded me of something that he was saying, couldn't you just stick, these are called tin 440s. They're basically the same size as a AAA, but they're lithium ion. They only have 350 milliamps as opposed to 1.2 volts, 850 milliamps. Alright, so this has more capacity but lower voltage. And this is designed to run on 1.5s added together. So what's the difference between series and parallel circuits? To keep it simple, all right. If you were to take a piece of wire and attach it here and attach it here, and you would have your positive coming out here and your negative coming out here, that's a parallel circuit. What does a parallel circuit do? It adds up the current or the capacity, 350 milliamps, the voltage stays the same. Now, if you were to switch it like this and pull a negative out of here with this joint like this, don't do this, I'm just saying this is a series circuit because you attach this to this. Now the current stays the same, but the voltage goes up. So what's the difference? Well, I'll explain it kind of like in Christmas lights, all right? If you have them set up in series on a Christmas light, if one of these lights burns out, they all go out. But if it's set up in a parallel circuit, if one of them goes out, there's still another path for them to find ground. Here, it's plus minus, plus minus. It's just going this way. This way, it's parallel. So you can tap off any point on there and still get a plus and minus on it. So basically, that you can't just throw these in here like this as an exact replacement, because this circuit is wired up in series. Now, that's fairly easy to get around because you still have all the holders here. You could still pop this out. See, the advantage he's talking about is to increase the runtime. So if you look at it in series, you add up 3 of these 3.7 volts. I got it over here as what is our base. 3.7 volts, 350 milliamps. If you hook them up in series, you're going to get 11.1 volts. You're still only going to have 350 milliamps. But if you hook them up in parallel, you're still going to get your 3.7 volts, but you're going to increase to 1050 milliamps. You see the difference there? Now, like I said, what's the disadvantage of running in series? Well, if one of these batteries dies or is weak and goes low quickly and you've got a low voltage protection, the thing will shut off or not work. If you're in parallel and you have a bad battery, it'll still work. You won't get the capacity, but you'll still get the voltage. You'll lose by, 350. So, my main thing is I'm recycling vape cells and stuff like that. So I don't have to buy these. If you've got these, that's fine. But these are not, readily available. They're not that common. And I'm just basically trying to find something, like Dollar Tree has these for $1.50. They're just push on and off. But I mean, the same thing would work. They're 3 batteries, you know, that you put in there, AAA's, and by doing the voltage that I do, they work. I mean, they work so far. The one in the sink works, but then again, you know, instead of being 850 milliamps, the one in there is, I think I put a 350 in it. So, in theory, it should last like half as long. It should last even a week. So we'll see. Now, I don't like to wire up lithium batteries in series or even parallel. I'll put them in a circuit like this, but those form factor ones, you know, that you find in vape cells and everything, for me, the 350 is going to be fine. My only modification is to them, I might incorporate a charge circuit, you know, into it. Well, I got to order I'm going to order another soldering iron, because the one I had is from when I worked at Harris Corporation in San Antonio a while back, and it's pretty old. Now they got ones that'll give you for like $10. You can get a little soldering iron thing has an on-off switch on it, instead of having to plug it in and unplug it like I do. A temperature reading, not that matters a whole lot, and a bunch of new tips. That matters, because the tip I have, I've been using it for plastic weld and everything else, and if you know what that does, it messes up the tip for adhering solder. You have to scrape it and it wears it out. Man, it's about time for a new soldering iron. It's basically what I'm trying to say, because I'm going to mess around with this stuff. But yeah, I just thought I'd give you a little heads up on the difference between series and parallel circuits, and why you would use it, and how it's done. And I'll put I just basically did screenshots of ask it a question. What's the advantage? What's the disadvantage? And that's a good way to find out a lot of stuff, because you're going from various sources. Sometimes it's AI, sometimes it's published articles and everything. I went through electronics school in the Air Force, because to me, electronics was like magic. And in many ways it still is. If you don't understand something, any advanced technology is going to look to other people like magic. You know, if you were to take us now and take a typical cell phone and go back into the 1600s or 1400s, well, first, cell phone wouldn't work because it needs the infrastructure of cell phone towers. But I mean, just the phone itself, the ability of taking pictures and playing back sound and all that other stuff, you'd probably be killed as a witch, you know, because people don't understand it, and they're fearful of it. But once you understand electronics, it's not as difficult. But the problem with electronics, my second wife was a math teacher, and she told me something that makes sense. She said, mathematics doesn't change. I mean, you know, unless you get into theoretical mathematics and everything, the basic part of mathematics is the same always. Electronics, on the other hand, it's always constantly evolving. Now they've got quantum computers and stuff, which are kind of weird, but anyways, all I'm saying is the amount of knowledge that I have on electronics has evaporated over the years. The stuff that I was taught, the stuff that I knew, a lot of that stuff, unless you're using it regularly, it's not exactly like riding a bicycle on electronics. Some of the stuff stays basic, like Ohm's law, V equals I times R, voltage equals current times resistance. No. Yeah, I think it is. Anyways, you used to have to remember that, and with that, if you have two of the equation, you can figure out the third. So if you don't know what the voltage is, if you have the current and the resistance, you can figure out what the voltage is. And if you know, that's the way it works. It's just a little thing that works with electronics. So, sorry for rambling on. I was trying to keep this short. I'm going to modify, like I said, this next one. And what I'm going to do is put another module in it. But this time, I'm going to try to set it up so that there's a charge circuit sticking out. See, this is how I do this. Let's get this guy and let's start it. And then go down. And then just go around and around. And this is pliable enough that it won't just like snap. But I do this a little bit. Let's start wedging up. This way you don't want to use a knife, because you go, Pah! Every time I'm messing with plastic and a small knife, I think, oh, it's just a small blade. Yeah, they can make some deep cuts, man. Small blades can make deep cuts when you're doing, especially when you're messing with plastic. That's the one element that seems to get me a lot of cuts. The combination is a small knife and plastic. There we go, pop. See, and these mount right here on top of that. This is just a little lens. Comes right off. It's not glued. And so, you see how this is set up. We don't know what's going on behind here, but you can see it right there. The metal is joined. If you wanted to set it up parallel, you would have to snip this off. And same way with down here. You'd have to snip those connectors off, because this is your minus, or your minus to plus, see? Minus to plus. So you'd have to change it to where minus goes to minus, and plus goes to plus. How will we orient this? We'd have to set it up like, this is minus. So we'd have to change it around. That is plus. See if I can figure out a parallel circuit here real quick. Well, we still got a minus. Here's where we tap out. Right here, right? Am I right or am I wrong? Remember that's, in this situation, that's severed, right? These little connections are severed. So we would still have to run plus. We can leave that connected. And leave that connected. And come up here. Here is your minus and here is your plus. And have that disconnected. So these connected, this connected. Minus, minus, plus, plus, right? I think I'm right. Anyways, that's how you would set it up if you wanted to use rechargeable 3.7s in there. You would have to get in here with a little, angle cutter. And then you would have to know. And really, all you're going to do, I'd try it on, like I said, a little Dollar Tree one. So that if you get it wrong, all you're going to do is fry. All you're going to do is fry these LEDs. You're going to be out $1.25. But if you get it right, you will have these guys set up in parallel. So you would have this set up, which is a long runtime, I think. If this guy gives me any problem, I might switch one of these to this just to do that. That's what I'm going to do with this one. Because I don't have a lot of these. That's the only reason why I do this. And you don't want to mix and match. You don't want to put one. You want to keep it all, and preferably the same manufacturer too, if you can, because you never know. The internal resistance might be different. On the series also, the resistance of each one adds up. Each cell adds up. Whereas with parallel, you're going to go with the, I think it's a whatever resistance, lowest one it's got on the circuit. Electricity takes the path of least resistance. That's one of the little laws you learn. Alright, I've rambled on too long, but yeah, I hope that's helpful for you. Like I said, I knew electronics a long time ago, but I've also forgotten a lot of it. I mean, it's just amazing what I've forgotten, and electronics involved. I'm going to try to keep it with simple circuits, simple things that you can do. that anybody can do. And if you can't do it, don't knock yourself too hard, because really it's a profession. It's something. It's just like doctors. They speak their own language. They have, we just call, hey, that muscle down there. No, that's a medulla oblongata. It's not a muscle. That's part of your brain. Well, still, it's a separate language. We don't usually use that in regular conversation. Same way with this, series, parallel. Parallel, people think, I got a parallel park. Well, yeah, kind of. You're parallel to the curb, but your car is in series with other cars. Bumper, front bumper to rear bumper to front bumper. That's a series circuit. But when you parallel park, you're paralleling to the curb, not to the other cars. That's just a little heads up there. Anyways, thank you for watching, and have a nice day. Science. Who needs it? Sounds like an airplane to me. It's triangular. No, that's just lights on a wing.